Hi everyone, I am Night Shifter and today we're gonna talk about based Goku's Kaioken. We're gonna talk about Kaioken routes, how to make the most optimal routes possible and give some examples of them, and then I'm also gonna talk about some gimmicks and some Kaioken Okizeme, particularly Kaioken times 20 Oki. Let's get into it. This video is a re-upload because after I posted the original one in the base Goku Discord, link in the description to that, a nice person called Kitara, which I hope I pronounced correctly, told me a few more useful things about Kaioken that I decided to add to the video. Whenever you see 18 on the team instead of 17, that means the respective section is new and you'll have to thank Kitara for it. It will also be marked with an asterisk. First thing you should know is that you get 3, 5, or 7 attacks respectively before the Kaioken finisher, depending on how many of your teammates are alive. So now that everyone on my team is alive, I get 3 attacks. 1, 2, 3, and finisher. If I kill off 17 here, this number increases to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 being the finisher, and you also get a level 2, now that 17 is dead. If Broly also dies, I get 7 attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, finisher. And you also get a stronger level 2 when all your teammates are down. Second thing you should know is that 2S, aka this move here, should generally always be the last move you use before the finisher because it gives the most corner carry and I believe also the most damage. Third thing you should know is that you should do your best not to repeat any Kaioken moves in your routes, as this will result in less overall damage. To give an example, I'm going to do 2 Kaioken times 3 routes and compare them. 5S, 2L, 5L, 2M, 2S. I repeated no moves there and I got 2555 damage. If I decided to just mash L instead, for example, into finisher, I will get 2425 damage, which is a fair bit less. This also applies to scaled combos, so do your best to vary your routing as much as you can. Final thing you should know is that during combos, doing the level 2 after the finisher kick but before the dive will always do optimal damage, and I'm going to show off an example right here. So here I've got 5646 damage. And here I've got 5605, which is less, despite the fact that I did the exact same combo and Kaioken route, but only let the dive actually go through. So remember, if possible, don't let the dive rock unless you want to DHC into your other character's level 3 or anything like that. The only exception to this rule is when you get a happy birthday. In that case, using 5S, 2S, 5H or the finisher will actually knock the assist out of your combo and you will no longer be able to kill them, as I'm going to show off here. As you can see, after 5S, Gohan got to just exit the combo and no longer take any damage. 5H will not work either because, as far as I'm aware, no grab can happy birthday in this game. The finisher can't happy birthday either, unfortunately. After the kick, Gohan kinda just flops out of the combo before the dive can actually hit him too. Kaioken 2S is technically usable for happy birthdays, but I would generally not recommend it. You can use it. Gohan is still in the combo there, but your only option after 2S is usually the finisher kick, which we've demonstrated does not work. But if you have an air tracking level 1 like UI Goku's, you can do 2S into it. Like this. And it will work just fine. If you don't have an air tracking level 1 though, do your best not to end in 2S and instead end in 2L, as it has the most hit stun out of Kaioken normals. easy DHCs even if you're left bound only. So for Kaioken times 1, the best happy birthday route would be this. 5L, 2M, and 2L. As for Kaioken times 3 and times 20 birthdays, all you need to do is press the same 3 buttons at the start, 5L, 2M, 2L, and then just keep mashing light from there. 5L, 2M, 2L, and then just mash light. And if you want to use your level 2 afterwards, a happy birthday as well, make sure you do it immediately without doing the finisher kick beforehand. One thing I should point out is that if you do land a raw Kaioken finisher, letting the dive go through actually does more damage, but only if it hits raw. Like 5,200 there, as opposed to 5,000, not even 5,000 here. So yeah, if you hit it raw, do let the dive go through. Now that we've got all that out of the way, we can finally move on to showcasing some examples of optimal corner or mid-screen Kaioken routes. Note that both variants generally work after a knockdown like JH or J2M or 2SSS or JDR. However, if you decide to end your combo, for example, like this, 5S2M is very likely to whiff, especially against small characters like T Gohan here. Delaying the 2M can help make it more consistent, but personally I would still stick to 5S2L2S, as it works in any situation consistently against any character, and you don't have to think about it as much. But you can go by your own preference. If you end your combo by doing 2SSS 236L in the corner, default to the 2M route. Because if you do 5L, 5S, 5H, it will whiff. As you can see, neither variant will work if you end your combo with a beam. Instead, try this route for that situation. As an extra little something, if you want the best possible Kaioken Oki, 5M, 5L, 2M, 2S to end your route after 5H. You will be left plus 26, whereas with other Kaioken routes you're left plus 25. So it's just one extra plus frame. Now that we've got over some Kaioken routes, it's time to cover some gimmicks and some Okizeme. Ending your Kaioken route on 5S will leave you plus 8. This means that you have enough time to meaty 2M your opponent, which will beat mashing attempts or trying to jump out if the opponent backtechs. However, this loses to uptech very cleanly. No matter what button I really press, they can uptech and dash out of the corner for free. So if you want to prevent them from upteching, you'll have to make a read. So this option isn't really all that useful, but it can definitely work against people who don't know the matchup well enough. If you end your Kaioken route on 2M 5S, this will leave you significantly more plus. Plus 17, as you can see. This will allow you to do an air dash JH and actually catch uptech. Or well, pretty much any tech really. This will also allow you to safe jump, as I will demonstrate. This option has its weaknesses too though, as it's going to straight up lose to very fast DPs, such as Team Gohan's EX DP here. It also has the weakness of the opponent just being able to run under it if they expect you to do it. Just like that. After a Kaioken times 20 beam, you'll be able to whiff a vanish and then meaty 2M. I'm going to make my opponent block here and try to jump out at the same time. And as you can see, my 2M frame trapped the jump. Now you're gonna need to practice this Oki for a while, because the timing on the vanish is somewhat strict. And if you do it too late, the vanish is what will hit meaty, and you will get absolutely nothing from it. Once they respect your meaty 2M, you can add in other options, which I will showcase here. Letting Goku do the dive before the beam actually also gives him an extra Oki option. I'm going to make Gohan block here and try to jump at the same time. With proper timing, a dash up 2M will frame trap the jump or anything else he might try to do. I personally found this Oki option to be very tight and very easy to mess up, especially online. It might also not work at all if you don't let the dive go through before the beam. But if you have better execution and timing than me, I do recommend using it because it's meterless, you don't have to spend a bar to vanish, and besides meaty 2M, you can also do things like Runup 214L. If you can consistently do Runup 2M, that is an option you have, to do 2M 214H. If the opponent reflects or anything, the 214H will go right back on top of him and snatch him. But if they get hit by the 2M 214H still combos, as you can see here, and it deals pretty decent damage. As a bonus, some cool tech for my fellow Kaioken and neutral abusers. If you do 5S5LL, this will completely catch jumping out, which is something that a lot of people try to do when raw Kaioken comes up. If you catch them in the air, same thing will work. You can do 2S and then mash L and then whatever else you want. And that is everything you need to know about Kaioken. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've learned something new and interesting from this video. Take care.